Welcome back to the 2 Minute Warning. This is episode 180 something. I don't know what episode it is. We're cranking out these episodes, so I'm losing track. But it's Greg here. Today we're going to be talking about the NBA. We're going to be talking about James Harden. And we're going to be talking about where I think that James Harden should go. Now, I'm not going to get into where I think he's going to end up. Well, I might later on in the video, but I want to focus this video on where I think is the best fit for Harden and where I think he should go. Now, for me, that option is for him to stay in Houston and for him to stay a Houston Rocket. Now, for a couple of reasons. Number one, biggest reason is their latest acquisitions. I think getting rid of Westbrook was a great choice by the Rockets because obviously Harden and Westbrook have contrasting play styles and it just did not mesh. And they weren't able to gain any success in that 1 year, and it was just not a good experiment. So I think that actually they got a lot of great value from Westbrook. They were able to get John Wall, Boogie Cousins, not from Westbrook, but they still managed to pick up Christian Wood, very solid young guy from the Pistons. And I think that after watching James Harden come back today for the first preseason game and play with John Wall, I feel like James Harden will realize that, like, on paper, this is the best roster that the Rockets have had with James Harden on that team. I mean, John Wall is similar to Westbrook in terms that they're both very quick point guards, but Wall is a better shooter, and I think that Wall is coming back even better from his tragic injury, and I think he's been rehabilitating great. I think he's coming back more athletic, more versatile, and more creative as a playmaker than he has at any point in his career, which I think is going to complement Harden greatly because he'll be able to play off the ball and be able to create for Harden instead of Harden trying to create and Westbrook trying to create and just not being able for that to mesh. And on top of that, he's got a big pick and roll guy now with Boogie because last year they got rid of Clint Capella. So now they have size down low and they're able to, crash glass because, when they were running small ball last year, all of those rebounds were not going their way. They were very small, not able to battle on the boards. And so I think Boogie is he's going to be using this season definitely as a revenge season. He's been really plagued by injuries and has not been able to see a lot of floor time since his time with the Warriors. And even then, he wasn't really playing that much because he kept getting injured. So I think that Boogie's coming back with a vengeance this year. And for those reasons, I really just think that I don't see why James Harden would want to leave Houston, although I understand the appeal to go to Philadelphia, to be in that pick and roll offense with Joel Embiid. But I just think, like, if you're James Harden, and I mean, this might be some personal bias because I'm a fan of players trying to stick it out with a franchise, trying to build a legacy with a franchise. I'm not a fan of, like, always moving teams, the KD style, even the LeBron, style to a certain extent, where, like, you see guys like Paul George who, was a mainstay on the Pacers and then just ended up bouncing around to the Thunder and to now the Clippers, and, same with Kawhi. And you can look at even Russell Westbrook. I mean, he went from being like the Thunder's like main dude, like the face of that franchise, to going to the Rockets and the Wizards in 2 years. So I don't know, but I'm a big fan of dudes like Giannis, dudes like Dame Lillard, who just want to, build a culture, become the face of a franchise, and actually build something great. And I really think that if Harden wants to, he could be able to do that. And I think with John Wall coming back as well as I think he will, and with the added weapons and Boogie and Christian Wood and others, I really think that it's going to be able to take some of that load off of Harden, because I feel like last year and all the years in the past, it's just been, all right, Harden, go out there, shoot a shit ton of threes, and give us 60 a night. And I just think at this point in his career, Harden, his numbers are going to take a little bit of a decline because that's just not consistent with, like, I mean, it's just inhuman to expect Harden to constantly be scoring 35, 36 points a game, night in and night out. He's been doing for the last 3 years. And I think Harden's looking for someone that'll kind of take that ease off of him because Westbrook wasn't able to do it. Chris Paul wasn't able to do it. So now I really think that Harden has that best option with a John Wall, with a Boogie at his side. And so I think that if they can get it together and mesh well, like I think they can, they'll be a top team in the West. Will they win a title? Not with the way the Lakers are looking. in my opinion. Where do I think Harden will actually end up? I feel like since he's been wanting a trade, he will go to Philadelphia. But I'm hopeful that Harden will see that John Wall has bounced back even better than he has been with the Wizards, that Boogie's going to be a resurging star, that he's got young, good weapons around him to succeed. He's still got Eric Gordon. He's still got PJ Tucker, the veterans. And I just think he will realize at some time that, look, like, I got this good roster. Like, why don't we try to build something? Why don't we try to win now instead of just getting out of there? But I feel like his heart's set on Philly. His heart's set on leaving, unfortunately. So I think he's going to book it to Philly. I think I don't really know who Philly would trade because I've heard they don't want to give up Ben Simmons, but I don't see how you do that without giving up Ben Simmons and a crap ton of first-round picks, because Harden's obviously top 5 in the league, maybe top 5 or 6. So it's going to be interesting to see how they work out a trade deal for that. And they may not even be able to let that go through, and Harden might be forced to stick it out, which I think he'll be willing to do. And I think that'll actually be better for him for all the reasons I stated before. But I think this year is going to be really exciting to watch Houston basketball. I'm excited to, just see how this team plays out with so many new faces. Such an interesting dynamic. I think it's going to be really special in Houston. And I hope that Harden, Wall, and Boogie can all click and make a deep push into the West, hopefully to the West Finals, or maybe the Finals. If they can knock off the Lakers, we don't know. We'll see that this season. Who knows? The West is obviously, it's like a clock, the way that it just keeps turning, the rosters keep turning over all the time. So who knows? But it's going to be fun to see, and I look forward to watching it. All right, 2-minute warning.